Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Talent Tap podcast. My name is Danny Lutchmandas, your host and founder of Crintalo and Country Vending. At Crintalo, we help businesses generate consistent, qualified client opportunities through an AI-powered growth engine. And at Country Vending, we deploy smart retail vending machines inside high-traffic venues like bars, clubs, and entertainment spaces. And with us today, we have Jordan Brown, the founder and CEO of Vape TM. How are you doing today, Jordan?
Doing well. Thanks for having me, Danny.
Good. It's good to have you on. Where are you calling in from today?
Cleveland, Ohio.
Was just up there a couple weeks. It was a pleasure being up there. Lots of snow, but definitely a good time. A little bit about yourself, your background, how you even thought about Vape TM, and what got you into the space.
Sure. So rewind kind of early childhood. I grew up where my father, my uncle owned a business. They owned a company called B&B Music, in which case they operated coin-operated amusement equipment, primarily jukeboxes, arcade machines like Pac-Man, Mortal Kombat. In the 80s, they transitioned into the claws or the stuffed animal grabbers. And in the 80s, they started pay air machines. Put $1 back in the day was 50 cents for air in your tire. But they did business at gas stations for those and mostly bars and taverns on the amusement side. The business was founded by my grandfather and his brother, my great uncle, in 1957. B&B stands for Brown and Brown, which is my last name. I've always wanted to work in the family business. My dad said, well, go to college, get a job. We could talk about it later. So I went to college, graduated by the skin of my teeth, moved out to Los Angeles, had a real crazy girlfriend out there. She was sweet, but wasn't going to work out. And my uncle came and rescued me, and I started working in the family business. At this time, it was 2009. We had 50 ATM machines. When my dad and uncle got into the ATM business while I was in college, they had an air machine at a gas station, and the air machine did a lot of money. $8, $9, $10,000 a year. They'd split it 50-50, and it was all quarters. And they saw this ATM there, and it said Charter One Bank. They go, what's this? And the guy said, his name was Omar. He goes, I don't know. It's, ATM machine. They pay me $500 a month. So my dad or uncle said, well, what if we pay you $500 a month? Can we put ours in? He said, yeah, no problem. I think my contract's coming up. Let me take a look. So my dad and uncle bought this ATM. And I'm rewinding before they had the 50, okay? And they put this ATM in, and they put like $2,000 in it in cash, in bulk cash. And it was gone like the next day. They said, holy shit, where did this money go? And, the next day they get $2,000 in their account, and they made, a couple $1,000s in surcharge revenue. And then at the end of the month, they get this check in the mail for like $760. They go, what is this? This is a mistake. So they call, it was, I think it was WRG back in the day. They go, hey, what's going on? We got this check for $762.12. They go, oh, that's interchange. We go, what's that? And they learned about the interchange and, also called reverse interchange in the ATM business. And it's not as high as it used to be, but back then it was 50 cents a transaction. So they were making $3, $2.50 surcharge. It's doing 1,000 transactions a month. That's $2,500, and they made another $500 plus on the interchange. They go, holy shit! So they placed 50 of these, and I started working for them. And I was fortunate that I always kind of had my dad and uncle had money, right? So I had an open checkbook, and they gave me the keys to the castle. They said, go out, get more accounts. So me and my uncle, we put a big map, and I'm in the same building, okay, B&B Music. We had a big map here of the whole street of Cleveland, and we went up and down the street, and I had a checkbook. We would, we'd write these checks for $500, $1,000, $2,000, and we just said, hey, we want to put our machine here, kick your other guy out. And we kind of knew everybody in the community from the claw machines and my grandfather and the air machines. So we went up and down the street, and sometimes they needed money. We'd go, oh, here's $20,000 cash advance. You make $500 a month in the ATM or $1,000 a month. We'll just withhold the commission, apply it to the note. Then we did some big deals. We go, okay, you need a couple $100,000. We put a mortgage on your building, make you, your brother, your cousin, your wife, and personal guarantees, lock them up 6 ways to Sunday. And essentially, we leveraged a lot of cash, had 1.5 million in loans out there, and we'd bonus a lot of money, and we, lack of a better word, just bought everybody out. And we grew from 50 machines to 700 machines from 2009 to 2020. 550 of the machines we cash loaded, an additional 150 we just processed and made the interchange. And we ruined the market. The margins eroded because we bought everybody. And we made 2 acquisitions along the way, one for 100 machines, one for 125 machines, a couple deals in between $1 million and $2 million. And aside from New York City, if there was a race and said, hey, you need to physically touch as many ATMs as you can that you own, aside from a route in New York City, we'd win the race. Because our 700 machines, 650 of them were within 30 miles of our office. Whenever COVID was, seems like a long time ago. I remember in June or July, we went through $25 million in cash on our route. It was an absolute monster. But the business was running us. We weren't running the business. The margins started to compress, and I had a family and kids. And if people knew, I say people, the bad guys, if they knew what was going on in this office, it was going to be a problem. So we got referred to an investment bank and strategically sold the business. So there's B&B Music, there's PAI, Payment Alliance International, later got acquired by Brinks. I was on an 18-month earnout, in which case they didn't pay us all the money unless we did a certain number of transactions. We had the COVID windfall and got that money. And I didn't know what I was going to do. But after that 18 months, 6 months later, they gave me a promotion to be the vice president of small retail placement for PAI, which was owned by Brinks, and I oversaw 10,000 ATMs. And I don't know if I was good at it or not, but I didn't like the corporate world, and I had about 30 ideas. My wife turned down 29 of them. The 30th idea was this vape vending machine, and I saw these vape vending machines appear. I saw some kind of flyer. And I told my dad and brother and uncle who still own B&B Music. They still own the jukeboxes and stuff. We just sold the ATM division. I said, hey, put some of these on your route. Long story short, they sat on their ass. So I bought this machine from China, and I saw this flyer. And you could tell the words on that flyer were not from an American. They were weird words. The pictures were also strange. So I Googled those keywords, China, manufacturer, and I found manufacturer by the name of Rhea, Reyah. So I bought this machine from Rhea. I get it. I call my neighbor. I said, hey, can you help me bring it in my house? So I spent 2 weeks on my floor to get this machine to work. I have no fucking clue what I'm doing. I get it to work. I call my uncle, same uncle that was in business with me, my father. I say, hey, can we put one in your bar? He happened to own a bar. So we put it in there. I buy these vapes off some guy on WhatsApp, and I put him in there. And the next day I look, it's like $200. I go, this is crazy. So I go there to see if it's real. Are the vapes gone? Is the money real? And it was sure as heck real. So I bought a few more of these machines and put them in my dad's jukebox accounts. And I go, holy shit. So this is while I had a job still at PAI. So in a short period, I put about 50 of these things out, and I had a lot of challenges because I was dealing with the Chinese. Vendor management was totally fragmented. There was a payment company, there was the hardware, the software, everything was kind of in Chinese, the machines would break. It was a complete shit show, and that's from someone that knew the industry and grew up in this business. So I go, look, if I'm having challenges, how the heck is somebody else that's new to the industry going to succeed? Well, they weren't, because there wasn't many of these machines around. So I looked in the U.S., U.S. vape vending supplier, they were all resellers. They were selling Chinese firewood, and they would put their name on it or white label it, but they didn't add any value. I don't need them. So he said, you know what? I'm going to do it. So I bought 3 more Chinese machines from Anovend, Guangzhou Smart, Rhea. There might have been another, and I tested them all out. They were all, a lot of them were terrible, and I couldn't get them to work. Rhea's at least worked, but I said, look, I got to bring this software here in the U.S. and come up with a real solution if I want to do this. So I told Ray I wanted the software, and they said, well, that's not an option. I said, I know, that's why I'm calling. So I had at this time around 50 machines, and I said, well, name a price. So they named a price. I said, okay, I'll give you half down. And it was a significant chunk of change. And they thought I was just nuts. So I wire them kind of like a handshake deal, a down payment. They probably just thought it was free money. And I go on Indeed, I look for software engineers because I don't know anything. But I had some friends that were in the software space. I said, could you look at this? Tell me what's going on here. And Ray had told me they developed the software for 7 to 8 years. And my buddy said, look, it might not look that good and has some issues, but this shit's like really complex. So I hire a software engineer. She's working for Cooper's Lighting. She's still here today. Her name's Ramya. And I pay her in cash and meet her at Dunkin' Donuts. Then she comes to my house and we just play with these machines. And we write up a whole worksheet on how we want to redesign the software, how we want it to look, how we want it to perform. And we worked with Raya for a 12-month period, purchased it, got all the source code, and then stood it up from scratch on Amazon web servers here in the US. From there, we launched a mobile app and got approved by Apple and the Google Play Store. And then we partnered with Nayax on the payments and became the first smart digital vending machine fully vertically integrated on the hardware, software, payments, and then I bolted on a support channel. At the end of the day, it's technology, it's equipment. If you don't have support and don't take care of your customers, they'll never grow. So we want our customers to succeed. And we started selling 10, 20, 30 machines a month. I learned the SEO and we dominate Google, and we're selling a couple years later, we're selling over 300 machines month over month. And the reason is not because we are reselling machines. We partner with the manufacturer. We have an exclusive on their equipment in the US. We host our own software. And really, we're a turnkey one-stop solution to digital smart vending. It was primarily the vapor nicotine industry, but other people are starting to explore other opportunities in Pokemon and TCG or trading card and baseball card and nightlife products, because all it is a digital image on a vending machine. And we have different coils and sizes to basically fit any product from a basketball card to a baseball. I was going to say basketball, but that won't fit. But basically anything from a baseball to a card, it'll fit. If you want to do a Pokemon pack, Brittany, throw me a pack in a case. It's fine. You could take a case. It's fine. It's fine. You could take a case like this. You could put the pack in the case. You could take our 22 millimeter coil, and now you have a trading card machine that you can sell booster packs. It's been quite a ride. We got about 25 people now, and it's been a blast.
Yeah, I mean that's an amazing story. My first actual machine ever before the ATMs, before the vape vending, was an air machine. Got one air machine and it's got a vacuum on it, and it's still running today. That was the first machine I ever bought. Yeah, it was an air slash vacuum,
That's
and
unbelievable.
still got that at a gas
Yeah, the
station
air
right now.
machines are good.
That's really
The
funny.
vacuum's funny. That is. And look, the vape vending, the reason I like it is unlike an ATM where you got to vend or dispense $100 or $80 to make $2 and $3 that you got to share. Here, you're vending a $10 vape for $30. You got 300% margins. Your inventory in the machine is 100 vapes at $1,000 instead of putting 20 grand in cash. While our ATM business was good, we get to the point of no return. We had $8 million in cash tied up. If I wanted to buy the business from my dad, I don't have that money to buy it. And banks don't want to go give you $8 million lines of credit. In this business, the margins are huge. Good accounts pay themselves back in 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months. And it's extremely scalable. I hate the word passive. I know there's YouTube people and podcasts, all the, passive. I go, look, if you find passive income, let me know. I'm the first one to sign up, right? There's investments and there's business. Everything takes hard work. Look, it's very scalable. It could be semi-passive. I don't 70 machines in Cleveland. I don't touch them. We have one part-time guy, but I know the business. I've learned it, but that's a complete myth to say that it's passive. I bought machines before I even placed them. learned the business, and then I scaled from there. I could kind of go on and on and on. I have a lot of passion in the business. I'm very proud of what we've accomplished in this time period.
As you should be.
Thank you. And we got a great culture and a great team. And I've surrounded myself by people that are passionate and smarter in a lot of other areas. I brought on a COO that's a technology leader who's implemented tremendous process and infrastructure from the warehouse to the shipping, logistics, fulfillment, support channel. And we have over 100 reviews, which are almost all 5-star. The reason we're able to grow at the rate we are is one, it's a niche industry that's kind of exploding, but two, when our customer has a problem, we're there for them. And when the customer buys the machine, we set expectations and provide the resources so they could learn on their own. At the end of the day, we don't make enough money for every machine to hold everybody's hand A to Z. Our goal is to provide the infrastructure, the support, both technical and on the payment side, so that an entrepreneur that wants to learn and grow
Yeah.
has the tools for success.
Yeah, and I get people all the time coming to me and they're like, "Why are you buying from Vape TM? You can get these machines, from China, probably save you some money." And the answer I always give them is, "Well, I got in with Vape TM early. I really like those guys, and their support is unparalleled. They answer the phone when you need them to, and there's nothing like working with a company in the US that gives you good support." When you buy a machine from China, the support is just not going to be there. They're not going to be there during the hours you need them. There's going to be a communication issue, and I think my big answer to anyone that asks me is the support. Support that y'all give is unparalleled, and it is one big reason why I have stayed with y'all and been able to scale the way that I have. You're the father of all of us. We're really here because of what you started. But yeah, thanks for coming on. It was a pleasure speaking to you. Yeah, and thanks everyone for listening. I'm gonna drop the VapeTM website link in the description. Y'all check out the website and go buy you a machine and land your first location. We can all definitely do it.